All right, guys, we're back. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host Marshana, Dahlia, Spavento. This is the 90 Day Fiance The Other Way podcast for season 3, episode 11. This is part 2. So last night, a lot took place. This was a pretty intense episode, but one of the craziest thing that took place was in the Jenny and Sumit story when Jenny's wish has come true. So they down with an astrologer, which is a big deal in their culture, Sumit's parents, and for him as well. Things that they do are based on what an astrologer advises them to do or not to do, or who to marry and who not to marry. Like, this is a big deal in their culture. In our culture, we make fun of it. A lot of people say it's a Miss Cleo thing, but you have to understand where they are from. This is how they make decisions. And the astrologer said that Sumit's mother can no longer condemn their relationship because it's cursing them and she will not be blessed. And her entire attitude towards the situation and Jenny herself has completely changed. And it almost looks as though it's a possibility that their blessing will be given on a wedding. Whether or not Sumit is willing to marry Jenny is a different story that we will have to cover at a later date. But the opportunity for them to plan and have a wedding now is on the table.
Well, here's the thing. Where was this astrologer this whole time? We've been kicked around. Jenny's been kicked around by Sumit's mom. And now the astrologer is like the only person who could talk sense to her and say, like, hey, you don't want to bless her, but you really also can't curse her. And he also told her that it would negatively affect her physical health if she continues in this way. So it reached her, and I know she's heartbroken, and she's not doing it for Jenny, right? She's doing it for her son. But the way I see it is Sumit doesn't seem really happy, because I feel like Sumit is in on the gig to have his mother run Jenny out of there. And now, thanks to the astrologer, that's no longer on the table. And now he's like, crap, I might have to really marry this elderly woman. And I'm sure in the next coming weeks, we're just going to see him find another way to kick the can down the road. Now we see in the preview, oh, I've been divorced before. I don't want to be divorced again. Well, this sounds really morbid, but if you marry Jenny, I mean, you're not going to get divorced again, but you'll probably end up a widower. She's that elderly. She's that close to end of life. But yeah, there'll be more excuses. I think Sumit was happy to have his mother run Jenny out of town, and now he's kind of disappointed.
Oh yeah, I saw the look of sheer terror on his face when he realized that there is no more excuses that he can write off as someone else's. Now the only excuses are coming from him. My favorite part of it of last night when he said, "I feel like this is rushed. It's been 8 years," and he said, "I feel like this
No.
is rushed." It's impossible to rush anything in an 8-year relationship cannot be rushed. 8 years and no wedding, nothing can be rushed. At some point, he has to cut her loose or marry her and make her an honest woman. But
Well,
you got
why
to
is
pick
her life
one.
up to him? Why does he have to cut her loose? Jenny, take your ass home. It's not always up to somebody else to decide what happens in our lives and decide our fate. Take yourself home.
You are 100% right. I do feel that Jenny would never leave on her own. But
No.
you're 100% right. Sumit does not need to cut her loose. And everyone keeps saying that online. They're like, Jenny, tell Jenny to go home. You're right. Jenny should know in her own thought process that she has enough self-worth and confidence that she can take herself back to her home country and not be treated the way that she has. So we're going to have to see how that goes. All right, so let's talk about what really got my blood boiling last night. So Ariella, after 10 weeks of holding Avi hostage, that's what I like to call it. She held him hostage in New Jersey. She told Biniam the pretense that she was going for an emergency hernia surgery, and she was gone for 10 weeks, holding this baby hostage from its father. And then when she returns, only to try and cause more turmoil and in the relationship, because that's what she did. She didn't go there to fix anything. She didn't go there to have any type of conversation. She went to control the situation and tell Biniam what she was going to do. And it really bothered me because a lot of people online came after me last night because I was on Team Biniam. Okay, so I don't support Biniam's behavior if it's true, but we have to understand.
There's only alleged behavior. There's no proof to anything.
We have to understand exactly. We don't know that there's proof. She decided that she believed it to be true. We don't know that it's true. All we know is she said during that sit down with the translator, you didn't text me back and you didn't answer your phone. So you must have been sleeping with women and having parties and drinking alcohol, which minus sleeping with women, just because he's a father, he can drink alcohol. There's no law against that that makes you a bad father or a bad boyfriend. He can go to parties. There is no law against it that when you have a child with a woman, parties are no longer a part of your life. So you can see the controllingness of this behavior. As long as he's doing anything that she doesn't want him to do, he will always be wrong.
And that's the thing. It's not about what's right or wrong. It's about what she has decided is acceptable for him. What Biniam did isn't wrong. I am without wife. I am without child. I'm going to have my friends over. I'm going to relax. I'm going to get my mind off of it. She's preying on one of the biggest injuries that he sustained in his life, which was his first wife leaving with their son and him not being able to see that son. She knows this is a big wound for him and an immense trauma. And she's playing that and manipulating it to getting him and using the baby to control him. She got down on her knees and said she would return to Ethiopia, only to lie and say, oh, we can go to Kenya. This is your last chance. You got to do what I say. Shut the F up and all these other things. She is extremely narcissistic and she's so controlling and she's abusing Biniam. And, I feel bad for Biniam because I'm like, why of all the people in the world would you have a baby with somebody this disgusting? And yes, Ariella, if you watch this, you are really disgusting. You need a lot of therapy. And I know that you learned this disgusting behavior from your family because this must be the way your mother treated your father, because your mother is sitting there co-signing on all your nasty behavior. Biniam's in danger here. We don't like to think of men in relationships as being the person who, or the abused party, or the one who's in danger. But Ariella's, Biniam's in grave danger, and she is really, really. Her crying there. I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for the life you have to live. You don't want him to have any autonomy as a person. You want to brainwash him into the cult of Ariella, and he should go to the cult of Ariella Christ of Ariella Saints, and he should worship you with cult-like devotion. And he should and the thing is with people like that, they always move the goalposts. They tell you, if you just do what I say, if you just answer your phone, if you just don't turn it off, then I will go easy on you and I'll make your life easy. And it's never true, because no matter what you do for them, it's always something else and always something else and always something else. It's just a way to get you to comply. There's nothing you can ever do to make them happy or make them feel satisfied or make them feel safe and secure in the relationship. It's always going to be something else. So work out the custody agreement, let the courts decide, and go with that. I just think that she's just a really abusive person. And it's hard for me to see him be abused in this way.
She is tearing him apart. She's tearing him down emotionally. There's nothing left emotionally for him to even cry
and
about.
Weaponizing a baby.
Yes.
And weaponizing a baby. And not even doing what's right for Avi, because what's right for Avi is to have his mom and dad. But she is so self-centered and so narcissistic that she's serving herself and not even her own son. She can't even see what's good for her son. That's how much she is into herself. It's disgusting.
That's why it took her 10 weeks to get a hernia surgery on her son. 10 weeks.
And to the people on Twitter who last night were tweeting me and were like, oh, but Biniam's a cheater. We don't know that Biniam's a cheater. This is all imaginary that Ariella made up in her mind. And even if he were a cheater, what makes the Twitterverse feel that Ariella deserves any better than what she got? She's a nasty person. Does she deserve a good partner in life? No, she doesn't. She doesn't. She is not worthy of a well-adjusted person with their ish together, who she's not worthy. She's not good. Why are we trying to take the good people in the world and pair them up with evil like Ariella? Why?
I don't get it. She deserves what she puts out. And I just want to make one quick point before we end. She met Biniam in a club dancing and drunk. So the idea that Biniam's behavior, dancing and drunk and dancing around women, bothers her is very ironic, because that's how you met him. And he was good enough then when you met him for your time and to lay with him and make a baby. But now that you've done that, the way that he's always lived is unacceptable to you.
Yeah, and Ariella, what does it tell us about you that you met a stranger and had unprotected sex with them? What about your judgment? You're here because not of who Biniam is, but because of also who you are and the decisions that you made. Own them.
Own them. All right, guys, that's it. We have talked about it. Next week, there's even more drama, and we're going to actually find out if Ariana and Biniam stay together next week because they're having a talk about living together. And she has already said last night that they can never have a romantic relationship again. So we have to see where this is going. I already know it's probably going negative. I do want to talk about some tweets that I saw, but I'm going to save it for next week because people are coming after me, but it pertains to what's going to happen next week. So I'm going to save it for that. So I'm going to put our Twitters and our Instagrams here at the bottom. Make sure you follow us and live tweet with us every Sunday night. Again, I am George Mossey. This is my co-host, Marshana, Dahlia, Spavento. Thanks for joining us, guys, and we will see you all real soon.